Hello guys and welcome to a new franchise review on this channel. Again, I'm joined by my good friend Manfred here. Yes, and today we're gonna talk about a series that is dear to our hearts, that we actually had talked and did a lot about, and talked especially a lot about in our childhood, as weird as it seems.
It's really weird to say, but this series was a big part of our childhood.
And still is, always when we hear it, when we hear the music and everything.
Yes.
We just have to think about it, and what is it?
Saw.
Yes.
The Saw franchise.
Exactly.
So we'll just get right into it.
Yes, exactly.
Start off with... the first ever Saw released, Saw, in 2004.
Yeah.
By who else could it be? James Wan.
Exactly.
One of our favorite horror directors. It stars Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. We all know Jigsaw.
Yes.
Then Lee Whannell as Adam, and Cary Elwes as Dr. Lawrence Gordon. So these were the most important characters.
Yes.
And the movie starts set in a bathroom. You don't know what's going on. Adam and Lawrence, they just awake and they're chained to a pipe with their foot. And the things go from there. Yeah,
and we switch between past and present. We never really know. And that's already a big point without spoiling a lot, because I think you should really watch this movie, actually. Because I think there are a lot of people know what Saw is. But the thing is, they think they know what Saw is because they only hear about the next sequels.
The last ones.
Yeah, the last ones, which are totally not what the first movie is all about. No. Because the first movie is has more of a thriller approach.
Yes, totally.
That's a way different thing about this movie.
So we don't want to spoil too much about the story, because it's a really nice story, but you follow the police around, a police officer who investigates the case of the Jigsaw killer, because he cuts out pieces and he sets them in traps, where he doesn't kill them, but either the victims, I say, either kill themselves by not doing the weird shit that they're supposed to, not following the rules, but they can survive. They just need to do some. Yeah,
they have to play along with the game.
Yes, and
so actually he gives them the chance of freedom, what he always says.
Exactly, and he says that that's an important aspect, actually. Yeah. He says that those people that he traps in those, they don't know what's the value of life, and so he's testing them.
Exactly, so that they appreciate that they redeem themselves, so to say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's actually a philosophy. How do you say?
There is a kind of philosophy approach. There you go.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. And what people don't know is, as you said, they always only know the gore scenes where people cut off their arms and whatnot, and with the saw. But what people don't know, and what I find so cool, what we find so cool, is the only real gruesome scene in this movie is where he cuts off his leg. I mean, we can say that.
Yeah,
everybody knows.
That's not a big spoiler.
And it is really intense, because it's the only really gruesome, brutal scene, and you really feel with it. You really like it.
Yeah, and it's also well done, because and that's a big difference when we get to with the later movies. You don't see it really, because it's a very low budget movie. Actually, Saw was a very low budget movie, and that's why they cut away actually when he's sawing into the foot, and you don't
just see it a little bit.
Exactly, you see it a little bit. You just see the blood coming out, and then it cuts away.
And his expression on the face.
Exactly, and Cary Elwes does that very well.
Yes.
I mean, I think the actors across the board did a good job.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
With the movie.
And this movie did it the best from all of them, like the mystery approach. Yeah. You don't know what's going on. You only know as much as the main characters do, and you only find out gradually over the movie what's really up with the games and whatnot.
Exactly. That's why what I always say when I say, people tell me, Saw, I don't want to see Saw. Saw is brutal and that's all it. And I always say, no.
It wasn't about this.
Yes, watch the first one. It's different back then.
It wasn't centered around the brutality. It was just part of it, but it wasn't the center.
I mean, how many traps were there even in the first one? 3?
Yeah, there was the famous reverse bear trap.
Yeah, there were a famous one there.
Then there was the one with the candle. In the bathroom.
So there were 4 then.
That there's the big trap in the bathroom.
And then there's one with the whole razor.
With the razor blade, like fence thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's it. And you don't see most of the action. You just see the aftermath mostly.
Yeah. And I think, if I have to pick out a scene that's probably my favorite scene out of the whole movie, there are 2. I would say. The first one being the reverse bear trap is one of the best traps, I think, in the whole Saw franchise.
It's very iconic.
Trap. It's that trap.
It's a classic, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I would also say that the reveal. We won't say the reveal again. You should watch the movie, but it's an awesome movie.
So if you want to watch a Saw movie, this one is the one to just watch it.
Yes, exactly.
So I just put up the spreadsheet here. These are my
I forgot about it. But you continue
ratings.
On. Yes,
I will give Saw 1, the original Saw, 9 out of 10.
Nice.
It is definitely one of my favorite horror movies. Like I really like it. I like it that it's so simple and it doesn't like overdo the gore.
Exactly.
I really like it. 9 out of 10.
And I agree with that. And I would give Saw also a 9 out of 10. So awesome movie. You should really watch it.
Yes, and you should even watch Saw 0.5, which is the thing like the
short movie that James wanted to entice the studio to give him money.
Yeah, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it was done like zero budget, no budget.
Yeah, no budget.
It's awesome.
And I think Lee Wannell is also in the movie because they had no budget for another actor. So
exactly. He actually also co-wrote Saw.
Yeah. So really a lot of dedication behind the movie.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Not only cash grab.
Yeah, people care for it, which will change in later movies. All right, so let's continue on with...
Saw 2. Yeah, Saw 2, just a year after Saw, because Saw was really a big success.
If it's Halloween, it must be Saw. That was the famous sentence back then.
Every year.
Yeah, every year you had to have a Saw movie.
And so 2005, there was released Saw 2.
Yes.
Which was directed by Darren Lynn Bousman.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happens in Saw 2? I actually roughly know it.
Yeah. Then please do it, because
it centers around a house, and you are introduced to Detective Matthews, who is a troubled police officer, has troubles with his son, and he actually meets Jigsaw because he finds Jigsaw in like his warehouse, and it was all planned that Jigsaw gets found by the police force. And Jigsaw says he needs to sit down with him and talk, and that's all he asks. And it's like really psycho.
Yeah, psychological. He's messing with him.
Detective Matthew's son is missing, and Jigsaw knows where he is.
Yes, but he has to talk with him in order to tell him where
and that is his only rule, to talk with him. And he, of course, breaks the rule. And they also find a monitor set up, like an awesome monitor set up with 5 screens.
And during the whole main plot, we're actually introduced to another side characters, which we don't really know a lot about, we have to say. But
we only know one pretty much.
Yeah, one pretty much, and that's all. But apart from 2 maybe, but that's all. And we see them going through all the traps. So through those side characters, we witness, of course, the new traps. And
that's in the house then I was talking about.
Exactly, that's in that house.
Big house.
It must be a big house, exactly. It's all intertwined into another, and there's a big overall trap because there's gas. They all inhaled gas, some toxic gas.
So they can't stay in there forever. They need to go on.
Exactly, and they need to find the keys in order to get like the
antidote.
Yeah, thank you. The antidote.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, they will die.
Yeah, and you also see in this movie again Amanda, which we will see in the following movies quite a lot.
Yes.
She was also in the first movie a victim of Jigsaw.
Yeah. In the famous trap, the reverse bear trap.
Yeah, I forgot to say that. That's quite important.
Actually, yeah.
And she knows how to play. She says we need to follow the rules, and so there's this tough muscle guy asshole dude. It's kind of a stereotypical a little bit, but but he actually throws Amanda in his trap. It's like a trap full of needles.
Probably, I think the most gruesome one, and it's
because
really,
it's so relatable. It could happen.
Yes,
I mean,
it could happen.
It's crazy, but
it's crazy.
It could, you could
technically,
set that up.
If you don't like needles, this will get to you.
And she must find the key, and that was actually supposed to be for him.
Yeah.
And
And I just have to mention just a little side info if you don't know how they made this trap, because that's very nice if you look at the behind the scenes how they did that.
How did they do it?
They actually took like every needle you see in there, all of those are actually real. The only thing is they actually took the real needle out and swapped it to a plastic one. So they did that for every needle. Just imagine if you see this trap, how much work this must have been.
Oh my god, yeah.
Exactly. So that's very nice. And I think, in my opinion, actually, the second one has the best twist. I love the twist of the second one. It's just
that's what also gets iconic over the Saw movies, like franchise, the twist.
The twist, yeah. Even though in the end it's like...
Yeah, parallel, you always see Jigsaw talking to Matthews, and I think we can say the end, right?
Yeah, we can.
In the end, it's revealed that the thing they think is a live stream is actually a tape recorded. It already has happened.
Yeah.
And his son is actually safe, and Jigsaw teasered that he will say he's well and alive, like... And you think, he's just lying, but actually in the end, like, a safe opens with his son
exactly where Jigsaw was behind, but the problem was because Matthew didn't follow the rules. Jigsaw brought him to the supposed place where he was, and he was actually captured and put also in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, he was
from the original movie.
In the end, I think the movie ends with where Matthews is like really in the bathroom, really furious, and I will kill you.
And she closes the door, like
game over,
like in the first one. So very nice twist, I have to say.
And I should say when we rewatched the whole franchise again, I quite like the second much more than I remember.
I agree.
Yeah. I liked that you get the backstory on the philosophy of Jigsaw and why he does it. I think it's revealed why he even does it.
Yeah, exactly. It's revealed in this movie, and I also think, for example, one of the best scenes in the whole entire Saw franchise, acting-wise, is Tobin Bell and the actor for Matthews just talking to each other. It's incredible, very well done.
You can definitely feel he's like stressed out, he's worried about his son and all, and then he has to cope with the psycho games from Jigsaw.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a well done scene.
Yeah, awesome. So I would give it 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's a great sequel.
Yeah, and I actually have to say I love it as same as the first one. I actually gave it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, you really liked
it, movie,
yeah, for me it wasn't that good, but still very nice. Yeah. Really liked it.
Exactly. All right. So now we move on to the movie.
Saw.
Yeah, to the movie where it should have ended.
And it's the Saw with the most best box office.
Yeah, the most
score.
The most how do you
successful.
Thank you. The most successful Saw movie.
Saw 3.
Yeah, Saw 3.
Made in 2006, a year later only. And let's just quickly look up where it starts because I don't know.
Again, and it's also made by Darren Lynn Bousman again. He did a couple of Saw movies. Actually, also will do the newest one,
which makes it very interesting for us.
Exactly. And of course, starring again, of course, Tobin Bell. We all know. Of course, Sean Smith for Amanda.
Sean, she's a very important character in this movie.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Add that on.
It's centering around her and Jigsaw, actually.
Yeah, and the doctor, she called Lynn. Exactly.
Lynn, yeah.
Lynn, she gets kidnapped, and it's her game. We were introduced by that very early. Her game is to keep Jigsaw alive because he is a cancer patient. Mm-hmm. You know that. The first movie, actually,
I think,
and she needs to keep him alive, and if he dies, if his heart rate stops, then some explosives that she wears is gonna go off and she dies.
Exactly. Bit over the top, but okay. And again, like in all the Saw movies, we have intro cuts where we see a father actually going through certain traps, and he has to save people, right? His whole deal is to save the others. He can let them die, and I think those people that he sees are people that are in part responsible for the sentencing of the murder of his child.
Yeah, it's really and he has to let go.
He has to forgive. Exactly, it's all about forgiveness.
That's his game.
And essentially, does he even save one person?
I think he saves the one the judge.
Yeah.
But the judge unfortunately dies too because
that's a stupid scene by the way.
Yeah, that's a thing I don't like too much about, but it's not important anyway.
Yeah.
But what you see in this particular movie, I still like the movie, but you can see the traps are getting a little more gruesome and it's a little more centered around that.
Yes.
But still, you have a nice story. You have twist over twist, which is hard to explain because I forget like two-thirds what is being twisted around all the time.
Yeah, the end twist is like, it's probably the biggest twist of the whole Saw franchise.
Some people say it's too much.
Yeah, too over the top, and I get that.
I can understand because Jigsaw has then set up this super mega trap lab warehouse.
It's trapception essentially.
Yeah, and at the same time that with the house has was running at the same.
This was all Saw 2 and 3. It's
when you factor in the realism.
Yeah, here is where it gets not very logical anymore.
Exactly, but you still, I think, have a nice story.
Yeah, so if you can get past the over-the-top story, yes, definitely. And I tell you, if you like over-the-top twists, you will love this.
And we are one of these.
But please, this is an important fact I want to mention. If you're also in Austria or you're living in Europe or in general, I don't know if it's in America as well, but watch the unrated version.
Yeah, not the one I watched because I was watching alongside with you and I was like, interesting. And you were like, it's just not happening.
Exactly, because you're watching a normal cut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is the unrated is actually quite longer. You have 10 to 15 minutes of more scenes, and actually they cut the most important part out of the twist.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
I don't know why they did it.
Yeah, it's weird, but so watch the unrated. That's just what I want to say.
And in the end, I'll just cut through all of this really quick because it's really complex. You gotta really work the story through if you really want to understand. But at the end, it's revealed that it's first of all not a game for Lynn. Lynn is just a side character, basically.
Because she's actually the wife of the other guy.
She is the wife of the other guy who is getting tested because his child died and all that. And then there's even a game for Amanda. Yeah. And in the end, there's a game back to, how is he called again? Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
And this is his last game, either forgive Jigsaw
or kill him.
And he says, I'm gonna kill him, of course.
He says it's just such an over the top scene, but I kind of love it. He's like, I forgive you, and then he takes the fucking chainsaw and
not a chainsaw, it's like the other saw.
So it's a saw and saw, right?
And he saws through his throat.
It's over the top.
It's over the top, but I kind of like then how Jigsaw begins to smile then.
Yes.
And he plays his last tape.
Yeah, before he dies, it's just such a great
And then the
scene.
montage starts, and it was all the game for him. And now his wife is gonna die because of him.
Yeah. It's great.
It is super complex, but
does it make sense? No, but do I like it? Yes.
Yeah, and this is the last really good Saw movie in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say too.
We quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would give it a 7 out of 10 actually.
Yeah, same here. I also give it 7 out of 10.
But what I have to say is what you noticed from the third already is this trend of moving away from thriller and moving more to brutal traps. Yeah, so the third had actually the most gruesome in our opinion.
Which is surprising.
Actually, yeah.
So, then we move on to Saw 4.
Of course, 1 year later, and you'll see this trend of just rushing out movies.
2007, yeah. Directed again by Darren Bousman.
Yes.
And what does happen this time?
Well, essentially, we start off with seeing Jigsaw's corpse. And it's being opened up, and they find tape.
They do an autopsy, and it's really unnecessary shown, like putting the stomach out and all that.
Yeah, it's because it has to be gruesome, you know.
Yeah, it has no real reason. It doesn't serve any purpose. They just did it because it's brutal.
Because it's brutal. Yeah, it's over the top. It shows where this series is going, and
then they find something which has been a meme like to us over the years.
Yeah, they find a tape inside his stomach, which is kind of he pulled wax over it, right?
And he
before the whole game in the game started, they made another game for another detective. Hoffman actually is introduced, and he plays the tape, and this famous sentence that we just memed the hell out of it.
Games have just begun.
Thought the game's over. Yeah, it's just that was essentially just the studio saying you thought the movie's over.
Yeah, you're right, and here is where it kind of went downhill a bit.
Yes, because they should have stopped.
Yeah, they should have stopped.
And this is also the part where James Wan stopped really working on this.
He doesn't have anything to do anymore
till
with
the third one, he actually wrote the story. With this one, he stopped.
Exactly, and this is also I think the last movie which still has one of the original characters, the commander
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
who was also in the second and third as a first, I think.
Yeah,
and is centered this time is his game.
Exactly.
The detective, how's he called? SWAT Commander Rick is a police officer.
Yeah,
and I think this disturbs us a little bit because it kind of goes against. It's not logical. His game is he can't save everyone.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of stupid.
It's stupid, yeah.
Because before it was always like, I don't know, you do drugs, you almost killed yourself, you don't value your life, and then you murdered someone, you did this and this. You know what I mean? Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
but you get it. They were bad
understand,
people, essentially, did something wrong. Okay, but for this guy, for the officer, it's like you're trying to save people.
Yeah, he's only doing his job.
What's the problem?
And also, there is his. I will not go into the traps too much because there's nothing iconic in there. I just remember this one where the woman gets her hair pulled back, and he then saves her, but the woman has to then kill him. That's her game. Yeah. And Jigsaw says on the tape like he will free you, and then you have to kill him. And it's like, what would you do? I mean, if there's a woman who almost dies, I mean, why not save her?
Yeah, and
regardless of who she is.
If Jigsaw talks to her, right, and he says, well, the guy that will free you and will save you, you need to kill him. Like, what would have stopped the woman to say no?
Yeah,
he would have freed her, and then she would.
I don't know.
She could just say, you know what, fuck you, Jigsaw.
It's I think some sort of police thing.
Yeah, sure, because he could put her in jail or something. It was a bit stupid. So this is where kind of the whole mentality of Jigsaw is going away.
Yeah.
Where the whole you have a chance to survive goes away.
And again, the traps are getting over the top because I'm just reading here. His game is also to find Eric Matthews.
Yeah.
Who is believed dead, and also Hoffman, Detective Hoffman, and they have this real weight scale, a big weight scale, and on one side there's Hoffman sitting, and on the other one there's Matthews hanging.
Exactly, and there's big ice cube, ice hammers over his head.
Yeah, and one ice cube where he's standing and it's gradually melting, and he's getting hanged either or. Something else happens.
If the scale tips to one side, one of them, they both will die essentially.
Yeah, but there's a twist at the end.
Yes,
we'll just skip through because this movie doesn't serve any purpose to the previous.
No,
ones.
it doesn't really, not at all. There's just one flashback that I like about it, but fine.
Yeah, we'll talk about that quick.
Exactly.
Is that the one with the knives?
The chair,
The chair.
You have a flashback to actually the first ever trap that Jigsaw did, because that's when they were like, oh shit, we actually killed Jigsaw. How we get him in the movie? Get flashbacks.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, so that's actually it's the nicest trap out of all of them, I would say, because it's still Jigsaw. You know what I mean?
And Tobin Bell always gives great performances.
Yeah, he kills it in the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Literally. No, okay, sorry.
No, he doesn't kill.
Yeah, he doesn't kill. Killing is distasteful. That's what he says.
Yeah, that's what he says, yeah.
Exactly, even though he kills, but anyway. It's the first trap and he fails actually, but the guy is just stupid for some reason, jumps into a wire.
Yeah, he says, oh, you're so dumb now.
Yeah.
And then Jigsaw makes him jump into
razor wires,
and then he dies.
Yeah, and what I like though, if you remember, is when he is in that razor wires, he's like, oh, Jigsaw's coming. Hey, that's a good trap idea, and that's a callback to the first one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And this is not just some random dude, by the way. It's a chunky guy,
and
just hurt his wife so that she loses
she was
child.
pregnant and lost the child because of that,
and that's why he tested him.
Exactly.
So what I was about to say at the end.
Yeah, the end twist. It's
what is the big twist?
Yeah, the officer actually is always, the whole mantra was you can't save everyone, as much as that doesn't make sense, but. The thing is, there's a timer going off, and of course you think when the timer hits 0 they'll die, but no, if the timer hits 0 and he hasn't opened the door to them, they will be saved, because he shouldn't save them. But he does in the very last second, and then his head gets crushed by the ice cube.
Matthew's head gets crushed.
And the other guy that's also there gets shot by the officer.
Yeah, there's this one middle guy.
Yeah, which we know nothing about,
it's
essentially.
Really, really hard, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the twist in the twist, of course. Hoffman is part of Jigsaw's club.
Yeah, Jigsaw's club.
Yeah, he's essentially the new Jigsaw.
Yeah, and he at the end unwraps himself from the chair and gets up from the chair, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, oh, look at this twist, like in the third one, and you're like,
I kind of hated Hoffman as a character and when I watched him years back, but I kind of like him more the last time.
I agree also
because he's
him.
kind of forced into this.
Yeah.
Because he kind of has no, he just has to do it.
Yeah.
And it's revealed by that too later.
Exactly.
And it's actually, we'll get going on that because the next movie center around Hoffman.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the twist. So mate, what did you give the movie?
I give it 5 out of 10. It's a mediocre movie.
Yeah.
It's not super awesome.
I'm just thinking what I gave it. I gave it 5, yeah. I also gave it a 5 out of 10, so it's fine.
It's something that the fans should watch.
Yeah.
But if you're not into Saw, then no.
No, then you don't have to watch it, exactly.
But you will see that's actually a pretty good rating when we look at the other ones.
Yeah, so that's actually not that bad when we continue on.
So from moving on from Saw 4, there was Saw 5, of course, next year release.
Of course. We don't make good stories, you rush them out.
Yeah, and you see the look and feel gets worse of the movie because the camera and the like these...
Can we talk about these? Yeah, can we talk about the filters? Like what's going on? I remember I just noticed this around that time.
And that started
ugly.
That started very much off on the 5th movie.
Yeah,
it went like total south.
Yeah, the blue filters and these ugly like orange filters.
Yeah, just overdone filters.
Yeah,
that kind of... We didn't like that.
Yeah.
So it was directed by a new director.
Yes.
David Heckel.
Yes.
And it was, still called Saw 5. Nothing. Yes. So what does happen in Saw 5?
Of course, we have Tobin Bell again because no Saw without Tobin Bell.
Yeah, it would be boring. Yeah.
Of course, only in flashbacks, but still.
Only in flashbacks. We have,
of course, also how is he called? Costas
Mandiloa as Mark Hoffman. Yeah. He does actually a pretty good job of playing the guy.
I would also say,
I think he's my second favorite actor from these movies with him. Because he's always like this
this badass look. Yeah. We just realized something. We realized how unimportant the characters in the plot were because we just realized
we didn't even remember.
Exactly, not at all. We start off in the movie.
I know.
With 5 characters actually. Who saw 5? Yeah, and all of them. Literally, the most characterization we get is he's that one guy.
Yeah, the other one is this guy.
Like an agent or something, and that's it.
The other one is like from a newspaper, a journalist. That's what I remember. The other ones...
it was a journalist, right. And it's just so weird because they say, Jigsaw says you all have done something wrong, and then we don't even get to learn it.
Yeah, not quite, no. Yeah. And also the mantra of this trap is teamwork. So they could all survive if they would work together.
But they don't because they're really stupid.
Because they're egoistic. That's what they want to say,
yeah, but
basically.
It's so stupid.
But you just don't give a crap about those. Every time there was a scene in the main trap, which should be the main focus, we're both like, we don't care about this. We want to see the backstory of Hoffman and so on, Jigsaw, but we don't care about these guys.
And damn, Hoffman has a love for nail bombs in this movie. Like every time it has to be a nail bomb.
So then if they don't finish the game in a particular time, the nail bomb goes off.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly, but I think also this is the movie with the weakest traps, the most...
first they start with this helmet.
Yes, those helmets
of like a bucket, and they're getting drawn to a saw
to a saw, and they have to all get the keys in front of them. And if they would all work as a team and one would go after the other, they would survive. But no, of course not. I get if you say at first they didn't get it, but this other trap where they have like 4 pipes. And they're so long, and they could easily fit 2 people. Yeah. And they're so stupid that no one questions, maybe they could 2. And in the end, they're like, 2 people could have fitted in the pipe.
At the end, they have to sacrifice an amount of blood. And if they would have been 5 people, everyone would have just...
A little bit,
and so they have to saw their half arm.
Yeah, and it gets over the top because he saws his hand until it hangs like this.
And it's only to do this shot.
Yeah, and also he saws it that way, so normally he should die instantly.
Yeah, because he saws through here.
Yeah, so it is stupid. It's really stupid in a way. But anyway, I know though, and that's the thing. On the 5th one, we actually disagreed on. Do you remember? Because that's weird. As weak as the traps are, I kind of like the story with Hoffman, and that's where we disagreed on, because you didn't find it that nice.
No, I didn't find it too interesting.
And
but I now know too, because I read it.
Yeah, and the ending was with Matthews, right? No,
with the other, with Stram.
Stram.
Because Stram over the movie finds more and more out that Hoffman is behind all of this, because they're in the same like department. Mm-hmm. And at the end, Stram knows and is sure. Yeah. But he when he went to prove it, because Hoffman jumps then into this coffin.
Yeah, there are other people there.
And
not in this. Yeah,
it's not important.
Yeah, there is a coffin, and they fight who gets into the coffin, and then there's this big reveal.
Yeah, and the twist is like Stram thinks he has caught him now in the coffin.
Yeah, and he will die, but
the twist is
the one that's in the coffin will survive.
Yeah, Hoffman will survive, because this is also what we said. Who would set up this mega machinery?
Yeah, you see walls moving in, crushing Stram, and I go, yeah, sure, he has built
and
that.
Stram goes with his coffin down, and
no, Hoffman goes down.
Hoffman goes down, and Stram gets crushed. And that's the end.
That's the end. It's I don't know.
I don't have much love for this movie.
Yeah, for me it was only because of the story. I think I gave it 5.
I don't know, but I gave it 3.5. This is one of the movies you should avoid, in my opinion.
Yeah, so if you're only in for the traps, then
yeah, maybe if you're into this, then.
But not even then, because the traps, in my opinion, are the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah, and the characters are
forgettable.
Non-existent.
Yeah, actually, non-existent.
They're just there to be killed.
Yeah, let's face it. But anyway, if you think this is the worst,
I would even say Friday the 13th has maybe a better characterization.
I would say too. Yeah,
that says something.
Yes. But how can we actually make it even more shitty?
And of course, next year it happened.
Of course, 2009, again, Saw 6.
Saw 6 by Kevin
Geroitert. Sorry about butchering the name.
2009 released, and this has, I'm just gonna say it now, this was my most hated Saw movie.
Yeah.
And I exactly know the story, because I hate it so much.
It's not my most hated, but yeah, I agree.
It is a pretty bad one.
Yeah,
we can agree on that.
It's definitely. I'm not saying it's good by any means.
You're following a insurance guy who at one point denied a claim to pay for treatment for one person.
Yes.
Who is the father of a family.
Yeah.
And
because of that, the father died.
The father died because of this, yeah.
And we're gonna say it just because we don't have to talk a lot about the story, because it's almost non-existent.
This is the story. He gets tested because of this. The story centers around he has to wander around, and that's what makes no sense. He has to sacrifice some of his own people in the staff to get
because he killed other people, so he has to kill now.
Maybe you put the one trap in where they're standing on this platform, and he has to let go one of them.
Exactly. And there are people that are defending these movies.
Oh, I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it too. But people are saying, well, this makes sense because Hoffman hasn't Jigsaw's
mentality.
Mentality. Yeah. And I get the argument, but still. It's just, this one trap, you have to kill one of them.
Yeah,
you can't leave both.
And those guys have done nothing wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just doing their job in the office.
Exactly. Now, I would only, the main trap of Saw 6 is this carousel, Yeah, and I don't know. What I have...
Carousel, where they have to shoot.
Yeah, they can only let one survive.
One or two.
And those were at least people who were partly responsible for those deaths of the people, so to say, for denying the insurance. But the other two were just random.
The one guy he killed instead of the woman was just a worker in his office.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. Why?
The only good scene in this movie, in my opinion, is when Jigsaw walks into his office and says he has this treatment plan and he could have a chance to cure his cancer because he has cancer, and the insurance guy denies it because he can't pay it, and then he says, "Oh, you're talking like I'm already dead," and so. And I quite like this scene.
Yeah, that's a nice scene. Yeah.
And it ends with this is also kind of unsatisfying because the insurance guy he pushes through all of the traps and he does all of this, and then in the end he just gets killed by the son whose father died.
Because that's the twist, and again the big twist that he gets to the last trap, and actually the family of the father that he denied the treatment for, and because he died, They could either let him live, again forgive him, or actually let him die.
And they did.
And the son said, "You killed my father, you motherfucker!" Just lay down on the floor and the trap wouldn't even hit you. And it's just so stupid. Or if he would have been, at that moment, if he would have been like out of frame, like I am right now, wouldn't have killed him.
Just swore,
and Jigsaw would be like, "Oh shit."
Well, shit, didn't think of that.
Didn't think of that. Oh, we forgot the biggest twist on the 60 that shows it.
What?
The twist is that Hoffman gets tested.
Yeah,
Throughout,
it's quite important actually. Yeah.
Okay, so throughout the whole 4th to 5th to 6th movie, it's always like, you think you will go untested to Hoffman. And then he gets tested by his wife. But he survives the new reverse bear trap. And she's like, "Oh shit!" And she's not a very good actor, I have to say.
Normal.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah, average.
Average, yeah, exactly. And she runs away.
And it was again planned by Jigsaw, so he just had this mega idea of the games after his death.
Yeah, exactly. He's like the trap and the trap and the trap. But
in general, a really bad movie.
Yeah. It's for me the second weakest movie out of the whole franchise.
I gave it only 2.5 out of 10. I really didn't like it.
I think I also gave it a really low score.
Again, my only the only good scene is the flashback from Jigsaw, and that was the only scene with him in this movie.
Exactly. Yeah, I also think I gave it a 3 out of 10.
It is a pretty bad movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad movie.
And can we talk about how bad it looks with all the filters and cameras?
Yeah, exactly. Especially 6 and 7, they get so ugly.
You see that they're rushed.
Yeah, you see that they're rushed. I mean, if you have just 1 year for every movie, it just doesn't make sense. No. It's starting to get worse and worse.
So Greuter, he didn't do a good job.
Yeah, and Greuter thought, hey, how about we end it? And in 2010, I remember even, because that's when we both got into the Saw franchise a lot.
Yeah.
And then the seventh, the final Saw was released.
Saw 3D.
Yeah, Saw 3D was released, or Saw 7, how you want to look at it. And also again by Kevin Greuter. And in my opinion, this movie actually made me angry. Essentially, Hoffman gets her. And she puts her in the original bear trap, and finally for all the fans we see her getting. And
that's I think in the 7th, mate.
We're talking about the 7th now. I'm talking about the 7th already.
There is this guy who wrote a book, and that was somewhat interesting because he claims he's a victim of the Saw killer, and there are even the original victims. Like you have a group where they talk about stuff.
It's some nice callbacks,
and then he wrote a book how he escaped the Jigsaw trap, and then he never was in a trap, and eventually he gets then into a trap.
Exactly. So Hoffman says fuck that and puts him into a real trap,
which is stupid. All of it is stupid.
And his wife is also in the trap. And let me just tell you, Saw 3D, that's what I meant. Story-wise, is insulting in my opinion, because the 6th one has already a dumb story, but the 7th one is so stupid. And it's also, it has those moments where it's like, let me just explain this again to the audience. Maybe they didn't get it. Exactly. And it's treating you like you're a complete idiot, even though the story itself is the biggest idiot in the room. And then there's the only thing good, in my opinion, about the 7th, and even there people disagree, is just the twist in the end. Because
I quite like the twist.
It's a nice Easter egg.
Well, it's not important for the story at all. No. But at the end, it's revealed that Dr. Gordon, who has not been shown since Saw 1,
because he sued the company.
But he came back, and it was a reveal that he has always worked with Jigsaw, and that he did all the medical stuff.
Exactly.
Which kind of makes sense.
That makes sense.
And in the end, he is with the pig mask. He puts the pig mask off, and it is his appearance there.
And then he puts Hoffman into the room where it all started, the first one, and he's the one to close it as the new Jigsaw.
Yeah, he's the new Jigsaw,
and
basically.
He, of course, says game over. There's a lot of fan service in this movie. You see the bear trap finally killing someone. You see the first room again, and
but once again the movie looks shit. It's all these filters and
it's really not a pretty movie. I would say it's an ugly movie looking wise.
It's and they did these amazing 3D effects where he throws the saw into the camera, and you're like, 3D.
and it's so over the top, and and all the traps. I mean, there is one only trap that I this one where the wife is. I'm just gonna spoil it. You don't watch it, honestly.
Yeah.
And where his wife is getting burned.
Yeah, the oven.
Exactly, the oven trap, and that's kind of gruesome.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Brutal, and that got to me a bit because it's really brutal.
Yeah.
But it's it's just compensated immediately by the stupidity of the whole trap because he has to hook. Because in his book he said he had to hook hooks into his
chest muscles.
Thank you, in his chest muscles, and then had to hoist him up to get to the button, and he now has to do that to save his wife.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. You just put it into his trousers, and he would have been done.
And he could have stand on it.
They're big enough, but no, he has to do that shit. Of course, in the last minute it rips.
It breaks, and he can't save her, and it ends. It was a really, really bad movie.
And thankfully, it ended.
I gave it 3 out of 10.
Yeah, and I gave it actually the worst for me in the whole franchise. Gave it 2 out of 10.
Okay.
So I really didn't enjoy the movie.
It's a pretty bad movie.
Yeah.
So then we move on to Saw 8, which was released in 2017, so 7 years later.
Yes.
And they finally got rid of the stupid filter look and actually made it look really nice.
So it was good that they took a break because they realized that they weren't, first of all, they weren't making a lot of money anymore aside from the 7th one. And it was good that they stopped.
And, it was directed by the Spearing brothers.
Yes. You start by seeing someone run away from the police, and he's like, I have to do it. If I don't do it, he will kill me. And then he gets killed. Spoiler. It's not a big spoiler. He's not a main character at all.
Yeah, he gets killed,
And essentially, you again follow along with people that are witnessing traps after traps. You don't really know a lot about them aside from 2 characters.
Yeah, some die instantly actually.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, fine, I didn't care. But
they're all in a farm building.
It's all inside that farm building,
It's once again such a big trap with lots of people, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Kind of reminded me of the second one a bit.
Yeah, and they also have, for example, this one with the helmets where they get pulled. That's really taken just from the fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth, yes. But in general, you sympathize a lot more with the characters there because they're getting at least some treatment. You even know their names and what they have done, and so that's
exactly amazing. And you also have this side story with the police, and actually they make a big discovery, and that is Jigsaw might be alive. And I remember when this was the one Saw movie we saw in the cinema, and we were both like, what?
This can't be.
Yeah.
He died, right?
Yeah. And actually, I wouldn't spoiler it, what ends, because you could watch this movie.
Yeah, it's just saying that right away. Avoid all the previous ones and go watch this one.
Yeah, go to the 3rd to 4th one if you want to, and then just skip today.
Because this one is actually nice, and it's got some cool scenes, and I think our favorite trap is the one with Jigsaw says there's only like the bullet is the only way to escape, and he puts like a shotgun inside.
Yeah, exactly. Shows the bullet, and he's like, this is your way to freedom.
This is your way to freedom.
Puts it in, and then something happens.
And they think they're 2 characters, and they of course think they need to kill one of them. And so I think the woman shoots.
But it's actually put reverse, and that's why it shoots at her.
And she is killed by that, and the other guy dies of starvation.
Yeah, because he finds out that actually inside the bullet were the keys literally to their freedom.
Destroyed now that it exploded, which is super smart.
That was a nice trap. That was actually the only trap I really found
Yeah, I also found really cool the fact that it's revealed that one of the woman which fired the shotgun was a neighbor of Jigsaw.
Yeah, and actually
of John Kramer. Yeah. And she made it out to be that her husband killed her son by laying on the baby.
Exactly, because she actually was getting so annoyed by the baby.
She killed it.
She couldn't take it anymore. Yes.
And he made it look like he killed it, and the husband killed himself
because he couldn't deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jigsaw. I like how Jigsaw says that I can't imagine what a burden it must be to live with something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why she tests her, which makes sense again.
That
why?
Makes sense. And of course, he has to slide the door again and close it. Yeah,
we should talk about this one guy who's getting them the plant.
We have, of course, the officer who is kind of like trying to find out who is that, and we have the other guy that's working at the police.
And the other guy,
and the I don't know his name,
but he is actually the guy who carries out the game, right?
Yes, he's actually another new
Jigsaw.
Yeah, actually, by the way, it connects actually to the other story, but very loosely.
Very loosely. It was revealed that it's actually taking place years before.
Yeah, there's a lot of twisting again, and I mean, I like that twist, even though it was very reminiscent of the second one.
Yeah,
idea-wise,
the house.
Yeah. But the main twist with the plant, I just say the plant, just watch it for yourself. Let's just say a man becomes a plant.
Yeah,
it looks so bad.
It's so bad.
It's so over the top and CGI, and and you don't feel something for the character. And it's a game over, and you're like, okay, fine, I'll go.
It's this final twist.
Yeah, it doesn't really work that well.
So that is Saw 8 called Jigsaw. It's not called Saw 8. It's Jigsaw.
Jigsaw, yeah.
And I gave it 6.5.
Yeah,
which is okay.
Yeah, I actually gave it 7 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. It's one of the stronger movies.
Yeah, it's definitely the best looking movie.
Yeah, definitely. So and now coming up actually this year, we would have gotten Saw Spiral with Samuel L. Jackson.
But we're looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Because can you tell we are fans of the franchise?
Yeah, and you might say, why? Most of them are quite bad, actually. Yeah, we believe that there can be good Saw movies.
Yeah, and we quite like the first 3. These are our favorite ones.
Yeah.
Still, even though the last one, the Jigsaw,
was also
not
good,
bad.
Yeah.
The real Saw movies are like the first 3 for us.
Yeah, the first 3, I would definitely say watch the first 3.
Yeah. So this is the Saw franchise.
Yeah, the Saw franchise, the whole Saw franchise. We talked about it. We shared our opinions. Of course, as soon as Saw Spiral will come out, the Book of Saw, whatever book that is, will come out. We'll talk about it as well as Saw fans. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have you seen the Saw franchise? What's your favorite Saw franchise? Favorite Saw movie, of course.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite?
It has to be the first one. There's no excuse.
Yeah, no excuse. If you say the 7th, just go away. Unsubscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next franchise review.
See you later.
See you later, Nathan.
You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
I was guilty,
Hello, Amanda.
but my life was saved that day.
Hello, Dr. Gordon. You are perhaps my greatest asset.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive. But not you. Not anymore.
I want to play a game.
You must meet death. Be reborn.
Hello, Jeff. I made this tape as an insurance policy, if you will. And if you're listening to it, then it's time to collect. I was your final test of forgiveness, and if you are listening to this, then you failed.